Welcome to Tzu Chi This Week. I'm Duncan Deaeth. Thank you for joining us. A tragic bus accident leaves 26 Chinese tourists dead. Tzu Chi meets the grieving families as they arrive in Taiwan. TIMA is providing disadvantaged families in the Philippines with cancer treatment procedures. In Johor Bahru, Malaysia, Tzu Chi is taking care of a struggling family with a very filial son. On July 19th, a bus of tourists from China heading to the airport after 8 days in Taiwan caught on fire and killed all 26 people on board. As soon as the families of the tourists were notified, they set out immediately. On the 21st, 16 families of the 24 tourists arrived from China. The government assigned a clerk to each family to help with arrangements, such as identifying the deceased and preparing accommodation.
As soon as the family members of those involved in the tour bus accident arrive in Taoyuan from China, they must surrender a DNA sample for testing, as it's the only way to identify their loved ones. Government officials have sent social workers and clerks to accompany each family.
这几天他们不管到中立的殡仪馆。
These couple days that they are here, no matter if they are going to the Zhongli funeral home, to the hotel, or identifying their family, we will provide assistance.
For the family members, this visit to Taiwan is laden with grief. While passing the receiving line of Tzu Chi volunteers at the airport lobby, one of the family members stopped to bow and thank the volunteers. Leaving the airport, each family boards their own private van to head to the funeral hall. The victims' family members pay their respects at the funeral hall. The family members are still in a state of shock, unable to come to terms with the loss of their loved ones. Tzu Chi volunteers chant sutras to help.
With our Tzu Chi brothers and sisters here chanting sutras, not only are our hearts settled, but the environment here at the funeral hall is also very solemn and respectful.
It is hoped that the pain of losing their loved ones can be eased with comfort and time.
TIMA's Northern Taiwan chapter visited Gongliao district of New Taipei to offer a free medical clinic for the elderly. The event was held at the yard of the Longmen Borough Chief and offered consultations in many different fields. Free haircuts were also offered. Let's take a look.
Many local residents have come to the yard of Longmen Borough Chief's house for the free clinic being held by TIMA's Northern Taiwan chapter. With the Borough Chief's help, it is more convenient for them to seek medical treatment.
To safeguard people's health, Tzu Chi is offering free clinic services to the elderly in this remote region. I appreciate Tzu Chi and I feel grateful.
The doctor carefully checks the senior's health. This senior is hard of hearing, so the doctor has to repeat his questions.
I said, when did you do the checkup last time?
The doctor may stand up to check seniors' legs or squats down to treat them with acupuncture, showing his patience and love. Apart from free clinic services, TIMA members also provide free haircuts for the elderly.
Yes, we are. Great.
Though a variety of medical services are offered, there are no eye doctors. To offer satisfactory medical services, volunteers drive this senior to another free clinic nearby to get her eyes checked.
I had an eye surgery before. My vision is blurry because I suffer from cataract. After visiting the eye doctor, I feel better and more energetic.
Here's another free clinic held at an activity center. Volunteers guide seniors to the indoor clinic while holding the umbrellas for them. TIMA's Northern Taiwan chapter visit here regularly to offer these free clinic services to take care of the elderly.
TIMA Northern Taiwan chapter recently offered their monthly clinic service in the remote area of Shimen, Sanzhi. A doctor returning from the U.S. also joined TIMA members. Her fluency in Taiwanese brought her closer to the seniors.
Do you take these 2 pills at the same time?
Liang Peijia, a doctor from the United States, speaks fluent Taiwanese. Originally, she planned to join a free clinic service in Greece. However, after her mother's suggestion, she decided to join TIMA members in remote areas in Taiwan to offer her expertise.
I was trained in the United States. I'm glad that I have the chance to help my Taiwanese countrymen. I used to speak English when I offer medical services, but I'm happy that I can speak Mandarin here.
To save people's life, she learned to be a doctor. Luckily, the remote Shimen Sanzhi needs passionate doctors like her. She has visited the solitary seniors with TIMA members. The TIMA pharmacist suggests the 95-year-old elderly a prescription.
The elderly often forget to take medicine when they are busy. I don't know whether they forgot to take the medicine or they forgot they had already taken the medicine.
TIMA members care for these seniors much like their families as they communicate and help them with patience and love.
Brazil has been suffering from the most serious financial crisis since 1930. The government plans to cut spending on health insurance to help reduce the government deficit. To lessen the burden on impoverished residents, the Tzu Chi Brazil Liaison Office offered a free clinic. Let's take a look.
These people protect against the cold by wrapping themselves with blankets or wearing scarves and beanies. They are standing in line to seek medical treatment hosted by Tzu Chi. Tzu Chi volunteers ask everyone to come in from the cold as the clinic begins. This 21-year-old single mother has been worried about her son's heart. She felt relieved after the doctor told her his congenital heart condition would improve as he ages. While this mother of 2 complains of abdomen pains, the doctor suggests a further exam and a prescription to take home. While Brazil is suffering from a financial crisis, Tzu Chi volunteers offer free clinics, including dentistry and traditional Chinese medicine, to impoverished families. These patients also seize the chance to ask doctors about their minor health problems, further understanding how to safeguard their own health.
In the Philippines, a tumor removal costs at least $32. Many low-income families cannot afford this procedure, so they delay it for years. TIMA provided surgeons for families to get free medical treatment. Let's meet some of those who received treatment.
The TIMA chapter in the Philippines opened their 211th clinic at the Pedro Guevara Elementary School. There are over 1,400 people in attendance, with 75 of them needing surgery. Richard Helvori discovered a tumor the size of a mung bean on his neck. Now 41, he cannot afford the $30 procedure to have it removed.
I completely forgot about the cyst until it got this big, which was around 2011. I was alarmed at how big it was, but I couldn't do anything about it. I'm the father of 3 children. My money goes to feeding them, not medical checkups.
Halbori's surgeon, Dr. Timoteo Yu, carried out Tzu Chi's message of humanity.
Because there's surgery involved, I couldn't help feeling a little nervous. The doctors lessened my anxiety by striking up a conversation with me. I didn't feel any pain during the procedure.
Consulting with patients is something the doctors enjoy doing.
It's a hobby naman, parang ganyan yan eh. I feel happy.
Surgery for me is a happy thing to do. I feel happy, and I believe in the sincerity of Tzu Chi to help people. Being a part of Tzu Chi is all about dedication, and that's what really inspired me to help the less fortunate free of charge.
By treating the patients like family, doctors were able to help patients overcome their anxiety regarding surgery.
I feel very relieved now that my tumor is taken out.
Tzu Chi volunteers in the Philippines have been helping impoverished patients. Among them, a boy was born with meningocele, which causes swelling of his nose and difficulty breathing. Also, a girl suffers from a rare cancer and needs chemotherapy. Tzu Chi volunteers help these patients with medical fees and encourage them to stay strong.
To 2-year-old Zhong is hugging his mother tightly because he's shy. His nose swelled due to meningocele. Therefore, his mother used to keep him in the house, afraid of the discrimination he might face.
Zhong suffered tremendously before he received the operation. With a tumor in his nose, he could barely breathe whenever he caught a cold.
Though the tumor has been removed, the scar of the surgery can still be seen. With Tzu Chi volunteers' help, he received the needed treatment. Volunteers are happy to hear his sonorous crying. Tzu Chi volunteers are well known for assisting impoverished families with medical expenses, including this 5-year-old girl suffering from rhabdomyosarcoma. Hair loss and skinny body are the after effects of her chemotherapy treatment. Her mother hopes Tzu Chi volunteers can help her daughter with medical expenses so she can continue undergoing treatment.
The medical costs are very high. She could not receive treatments in time when we ran out of medicine. Even with medicines, she cannot receive treatment because we cannot afford it.
In addition, 40-year-old Soladonio, who suffers from nasopharyngeal cancer, also needs help. Since all of these savings were spent on medical treatments, he cannot pay for his children's tuition fees.
He's the breadwinner of our family. I hope he can survive.
As Tzu Chi volunteers visit these less fortunate families, they bring hope to the forgotten corners of society.
A recent fire broke out in a poor community in Quezon City of the Philippines. The blaze destroyed over 300 houses, affecting 658 families, who are now residing in temporary shelters. To offer assistance, Tzu Chi volunteers held an aid distribution to help the residents get back on their feet.
The scene of the fire took place in a poor community in Quezon City. The cause is suspected to be from faulty electrical wiring. Subsequently, the fire also blew several fuse boxes, causing 658 families to be without power.
I was chatting with some of my neighbors in front of my house when the fire began. We couldn't believe that we lost our homes to it.
A few hundred families are crammed inside the emergency shelter, which is humid and lacking in resources. On this day, Tzu Chi volunteers have come to distribute aid supplies, which includes daily necessities, sleeping mats, and rice.
Tzu Chi Foundation has given so much help to us, perhaps enough for the fire victims to start over. The cooking pots especially would be useful as they need to cook.
As this area is mainly made up of homes built illegally, a big fire already happened here in 2014. In the past 2 years, Tzu Chi has held 6 aid distributions.
We conducted a fire relief operation here in 2014. Sadly, the fire today was much bigger than the one 2 years ago.
As Barangay Chairman of Besa, Quezon City, I'm familiar with fires around these parts, as well as the help you give us. Tzu Chi gives out the most amount of aid for fire victims.
Palms together, residents join the volunteers in a prayer to wish for peace in their life as they rebuild their homes for a better tomorrow.
In Malaysia, a second fire broke out in Kudat of Sabah State. Local residents who had been living without electricity since the first fire were using candles. Since the houses were made of wood, the fire spread rapidly and uncontrollably. More than 200 houses burned down. Volunteers went to distribute aid supplies to help the affected residents get through the days ahead.
In Kudat, a number of citizens have gathered at the community hall to register their identity. Tzu Chi volunteers in Sabah have come to distribute consolation cash to these fire victims. It's been only a month since the last fire in Kudat, Sabah, but another is struck because of human negligence.
We have not had electricity for several months. That night, I lighted candles, and the candles fell on the mattress. When my sister woke up, the entire house was already on fire. Our neighbor told us to evacuate immediately as the fire was beyond our control.
The relentless fire has already destroyed many homes, leaving about 1,000 people living in temporary shelters. After the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers take the time to listen to the victims and lift their spirits by singing songs.
I don't expect anything anymore now that my house is gone. But if I had no family, it would have been even more difficult for me to move. I would have to stay in shelters. Fortunately, we're all safe, and I thank you for helping us.
At the aid distribution, the volunteers hand out consolation cash to 273 families with sincerity.
Let's give Tzu Chi a round of applause. We've had access to benefits before, but they were different than what Tzu Chi has done for us today. We are very moved.
In a difficult time, Tzu Chi volunteers hope that their best wishes will help the affected residents feel more at ease as they rebuild their homes.
Now we will take you to Johor Bahru, Malaysia, to learn about a filial son, Go King Phi, now 69 years old, who has been taking care of his mother for 19 years since she became paralyzed due to her illness. After his wife passed away in 2005, he quit his job to care for his mother and his 2 children. His younger brother is also disabled. The family was in a worrying situation, but in 2008, Tzu Chi volunteers stepped in to help improve the family's living conditions.
In the chirping sound of birds in early morning, Ko Ki Fin helped his mother to wash her face.
He is really careful with his mother. He takes good care of her.
Now 69 years old, he is a Tzu Chi aid recipient and a filial son.
When his mother had constipation, he simply used his hand to remove the stool. How many people are willing to do that?
His wife passed away in 2005. To look after his 2 children and his mother, Ko Ki Fin had to quit his job and stayed home. Then the family had to rely on their relatives for financial help. Then in 2008, Tzu Chi stepped in to help.
Sometimes he only eats 1 meal a day, but he is still willing to donate his change, left from the grocery shopping, into a coin bank to help other needy people.
What Tzu Chi has been giving to me is enough. Saving to help others has become a habit.
Tzu Chi volunteers have been helping this family for 8 years. On this day, they came with a cake.
We came today in the name of celebrating your daughter's birthday, but actually we also want to celebrate the upcoming Father's Day with you. It's been a tough year for you.
In the name of a birthday celebration, the volunteers arrange this so everyone can express his or her feeling towards each other.
I'm 60 years old, and this is my first time to serve tea to my mother. If she's gone, then I can't serve her tea.
Because of my mom's and my daughter's conditions, I'm very grateful to Tzu Chi volunteers who helped me through the difficult time. I'm very grateful to them.
It was once a heavy burden to look after his family alone, but after Tzu Chi volunteers stepped in, his burden is reduced, and he also has much expectation about his future.
Right now, I cannot let go, but I hope one day I can be a volunteer like the Tzu Chi brothers and sisters.
Since 27-year-old Tsai Bai-ying graduated from university 2 years ago, he has been taking care of his sister who was born with muscular dystrophy and his mother who was paralyzed after brain tumor surgery in April this year. Now the family has no income and is in financial difficulty. Tzu Chi volunteers recently made a care visit and were touched by Tsai Bai-ying's filial piety.
I will help you sit up. Don't be scared. I will wash your face. You're awake.
In April this year, Tsai Bai-ying's mother had a surgery to remove a brain tumor, but it made her paralyzed, so Tsai takes care of her every day.
After she wakes up, I'll wash her face. Basically, she can't move as she has no strength, so she needs help with eating and going to the washroom.
Cai Bai-yin sleeps by his mother's side, but he wakes up 3 to 4 times a night to help his mother. He also helps his mother do physical therapies.
我们等下练习起立坐下哦，哎呀，起来都坐落来。
其实有点辛苦
但也是要应该的，妈妈也是很辛苦啊。
Besides his mother, Cai Bai-yin also looks after his sister.
今天你要翻身吗？哎呀，往并轨哈，好来哦。
Born with muscular dystrophy, Cai's sister became bedridden after she went to junior high school. She cannot talk because she has had a tracheotomy, but both of them are still very close. Now 27 years old, Cai Bai-yin has been taking care of his mother and sister since he graduated from university 2 years ago.
看妈妈之前也是一个人，然后妈妈当时一定也。
My mom was very young when she was married. Then, unfortunately, my dad passed away, but my mom still managed to raise both of us by herself.
Tzu Chi volunteers came to visit them in the afternoon. Seeing how filial he is to his mother and sister, the volunteers are touched.
It's not easy for someone his age. Fantastic.
I am touched by his selfless giving because it's not easy for him.
The volunteers will continue accompanying Cai as he looks after his mother and sister, so he will not be lonely while caring for them.
In Malaysia, in the Rawang community of Selangor, a mother with 3 children lives in an abandoned building. Since the mother has mental problems, she hasn't been able to keep the place clean. She often begged for food with her children before Tzu Chi arrived to help. After a long-term care plan was put into practice, volunteers recently helped the family move into a better living environment. Tzu Chi care recipient Poon Hee Moi and her children live in an abandoned building. Without proper furniture, the family eats and sleeps on the cement floor.
The place she lived was dangerous. She didn't have any neighbors. The people from Bukit Berendon warned us not to help her because she's poor. I think she brought her children to Pasar to beg and took something without paying. She left a bad impression on them.
Poon is a slow learner and doesn't know how to keep up her home. Tzu Chi volunteers decided the family of 4 must move to a better living environment, such as this 3-bedroom apartment. Poon's husband doesn't have a steady job, so Poon would take the kids to beg for food. Volunteers let Poon know that if she took on a proper job to pay for rent, they could help provide financial subsidies. However, the care recipient didn't know how to manage a budget.
The end of the month had yet to arrive, and we would receive a call from her asking us when her subsidy was going to arrive because she spent all her money. She doesn't know how to budget her money, so what do? Each week we go shopping with her to purchase the items she needs and teach her how to look after her money.
With a new living space and new life, Poon Hee Moi is slowly learning how to help her children grow up with safety and security. After the tragic tour bus accident that occurred in Taiwan, Tzu Chi volunteers have been maintaining a vigil at the funeral hall in Taipei, reciting sutras and helping console family members of the victims as they grieve. We will leave you with these images at the end of our program. Thanks for joining us.